Welcome to Retirement Decoded with your host, Scott Tucker, where we break down the complexities of retirement planning to give you clear, actionable advice. Whether you're just starting out or getting ready to retire, Scott's here to help you make informed decisions and secure your financial future. Tune in each week as we simplify the process and decode the path to a stress-free retirement. Now, here's your host, Scott Tucker.
Welcome back to the podcast, the Retirement Decoded podcast with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. Wait, no, that was that bell for the podcast or for me? I should have
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. I'm here with Associate Advisor Max Wren. Say hello, Max Wren.
Hello, Max Wren.
Max Wren, our question today comes from Charlotte. Charlotte says, Max, a friend inherited some very old Procter & Gamble stock a while back.
Cincinnati company.
Oh, geez, the Cincinnati stuff again. So longtime listeners of the podcast will know that we are in Chicago. We are federally licensed, so we can help folks all across the country. Even, hey, when at Puerto Rico, Guam. Hey, Max, we're going to give you all the Guam Zooms.
I'll take them.
They'll be on 3 a.m.
I love my Guams.
The Guam Zooms. You Guamanians?
Yes, I think that's the proper.
Guamanian Americans. So Charlotte writes us, and she says, Max, a friend inherited some very old Procter & Gamble stock, a Cincinnati company, a while back. I guess they were just put in her name. There's some guessing going on already. I guess they were just put in her name. I guess is the stock certificates. I don't know. I guess they were just put in her name, but that's all she knows. Well, she got to know more than that. It's her stock.
Yeah, I'd hope she knows.
I mean, that's all she knows.
I'd hope she would know a little more.
See, Charlotte, now we're talking to you about her. Now we're playing a game of telephone, too.
Yeah.
A lot of guessing. Charlotte, you ought to send your friend to tuckerretirement.com, and we'll spend 15 minutes for free on the telephone with her in the coming week, get her questions answered or answers questions. So it says, Max, a friend inherited some very old Procter & Gamble stock, a Cincinnati company, a while back. I guess they were just put in her name, but that's all she knows. Occasionally, she gets a letter from Occasionally, she gets a letter from EQ Unity with information about her shares. So, Max, it sounds like EQ Unity is the custodian of the shares.
I haven't heard of that custodian before.
I haven't either. And so, occasionally, she gets a letter from EQ Unity, easy for you to say, with information about her Procter & Gamble shares, a Cincinnati company, Max.
Yep.
Max, any advice on how to gain access to these shares? ? Is EQ Unity legit? ? Okay, Max, how might her friend get access to these shares?
Well, and maybe it's a little more simple than it sounds, but that letter you're getting probably has a customer service number on there, right?
Like it probably says 1-800-EQ Unity.
Right, exactly.
Now somebody's going to get prank calls because I'm sending the wrong phone number.
Okay, Scott Tucker told me to call this number. So
your friend gets letters from EQ Unity with information about her Procter & Gamble shares. Now, Procter & Gamble, of course, everybody knows Max is a Cincinnati company. Any advice on how to gain access to the shares? Call the 1-800 number. Is EQ Unity legit? I think so.
Could be.
I don't know. Well, they're sending your friend letters about her P&G shares, and I suppose that's proactive. Doesn't sound like any kind of a phishing attempt.
No.
No,
definitely not.
I haven't heard of them, and I haven't had a minute to Google them or anything. I don't see any problem here. A couple of things we might talk about, Max. So Charlotte's friend inherited old Procter & Gamble stock. Of course, Procter & Gamble from Cincinnati.
Yep.
So she this is interesting too, because here's how it reads. A friend inherited some very old P&G stock a while back. Now, Max, she inherited the stock a while back.
Yeah, problem there, isn't there?
Yeah. So, there's a couple things, whether it's a Cincinnati company or not, and whether your parent worked there or didn't work there, or you like their diapers or their Tide Pods, ?
Tide Pods, toothpaste.
Yeah, whatever it is you like about P&G. When you inherit
softener.
Okay. When you inherit stock from you inherit a stock from, say, your parents upon their passing, you get a step up in cost basis. That might be a good time to sell that P&G stock. Not specific advice, your mileage may vary.
Yep.
Because when you get a step up in cost basis, say, I don't even know what it trades at now. Say your dad left you P&G stock. Say your dad worked at Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati. So maybe your dad bought stock in a non-retirement account, a non-qualified account at $10 a share, and then when he passed, it's $100 a share.
Mm-hmm.
You get a step up in cost basis. So what that means is you're not taxed if you sell that $100 share as if you pay $10. You're not taxed in this case because you sold a $100 share right after his passing for $100. There's no taxable gain there because of the step up in cost basis.
Correct. Yep.
That would have been a good opportunity for your friend Charlotte. You just tell her it would have been a good opportunity potentially for your friend to sell that P&G stock and then diversify.
Yeah, always want to diversify.
What happens is people, Max, they get all sentimental, say, "Oh, my dad worked at Procter and Gamble for 40 years here in Cincinnati."
I see it every day. Every day.
Yeah. Well, my dad worked there. I can't sell it.
Right.
Did your dad tell you like never sell it? Oh, we did have a client. She's still a client, and she inherited some money a year and a half ago, maybe. Her mom passed away, and her mom, it wasn't like her mom's last words, but her mom said, her mom's like, "Don't ever sell the MasterCard stock."
Yeah.
Well, never.
I mean, last week we sat down with the gentleman who had Starbucks, and
Yeah, $500,000 in Starbucks.
he just would never sell it.
We were explaining to him how he could sell. There's some new provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and we were discussing how he could potentially sell it and pay no taxes. Mm-hmm. It's a rather complicated story.
Very complicated.
And he goes, no, I don't want to sell it. And then at the same time, he's sort of risk adverse, which is kind of weird because he's got 1.9 saved for retirement, sort of risk averse, but he's got $500,000 in Starbucks out of the 1.9, and then he had like $1 million something in the bank.
Yeah, just in cash, basically.
Yeah, and like my brain's starting to hurt. And I was like, that's a whole other thing too. Getting off topic, making 4% in the bank, but then you're taxed federal and state, and then and we have a state income tax in Illinois at 4.95%. So by the time you do all that, you're making like 3%, and inflation's 3%.
Yeah, making your Social Security tax higher too. So,
geez. Anyway, yeah, that's right. Yeah, geez. Because the more taxable income you show in retirement, like from CDs and non-qualified accounts, the more taxes you cause on Social Security. You could have up to 85% of your Social Security federally taxable. One thing we discussed with him is there's a misconception about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It did not make Social Security tax-free.
Yeah, I was just speaking to a woman last week about that. She was dead certain that it was.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, had a little come-to-Jesus conversation with her.
So the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, there was a lot of campaigning about making Social Security federally tax-free, but when you read the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, all it did is it added a temporary senior bonus deduction, they call it. Mm-hmm. You have to be 65 to get that deduction.
Yep.
So if you're on Social Security at 62 to 64, that deduction, but at 65, you get that bonus deduction, but it's not about Social Security. It's just another deduction. And then that deduction ends at the end of 2028, just in time for the next administration.
Yeah, the phase-out income number's pretty low too. So
yeah, there's a phase out too. If you make, I think it's $75,000 per person,
right.
And that can include Roth conversions or IRA distributions or monthly pensions. Anywho, back to Charlotte. Her friend inherited some very old Procter & Gamble stock a while back. I guess they were just put in her name, but that's all she knows. Occasionally, she gets a letter from EQ Unity with information about her shares and advice how to gain access. Call the 800 number. So your friend inherited it. So Charlotte's friend inherited the P&G stock. Did she inherit it through an inherited IRA? I didn't get that angle. What I was thinking, she inherited it as what we call non-qualified or non-retirement account stock there, and it would have been good to consider selling the stock right away to diversify and do it right away, so there's no taxes because it's so close to your parents' death, if that's who you got it from. We do get this sometimes where people have these mystery shares, and like, I have this thing, but I don't know where it is.
Yep.
Here's another topic to throw in here. We have folks all the time, Max, that they say, we're just talking to a gentleman last week. I left a job in 2009, and I left my 401k there, and then he had to go through this whole rigmarole, and there's mergers and acquisitions and all these things. So he had to call a place in Milwaukee, and they said call Atlanta. Then he called Atlanta. They said call San Antonio.
Yep.
And he got as far as the Milwaukee and the Atlanta calls, and then they said, "Oh no, you definitely do have money here. Yeah, where you been? It's been 16 years." And then they go, "But you have to call San Antonio." So then he's going to follow up with us, just let us know what happened. But so then he has to call San Antonio. Like, this is like the third office he has to call to find his money.
Hey, it sounds like a fun process.
So one thing, let's talk for a minute about when you leave a job. Typically, your money should leave with you. And I don't mean that your 401k should go to your checking account,
Right.
but typically your traditional 401k should go to a traditional IRA, and then your Roth 401k should go to a Roth IRA. Because what we find is the IRA custodians and the Roth IRA custodians, they're really good about communicating with you. So it doesn't matter where, as long as you forward your mail, they're going to keep finding you.
Yeah.
They're going to keep sending you statements to where you are currently.
Yeah, they have a duty to.
Yeah. Well, the 401k folks do too, but they just don't do it. They're like, oh, he retired. It's just it's the darndest thing.
Like, oh, we haven't heard from this guy in 20 years.
Yeah, he didn't.
Everything's normal.
Yeah. We talked to somebody left a job and their 401k was at Voya? Empower. So we talked to somebody else, and her old 401k is at Empower. And when she called them up to ask about her old 401k, because we said, you really ought to think about moving this to an IRA or a Roth or something. So she calls up Empower, and they start sweet talking her. Oh, where you been? How about we take it and we put it in an Empower IRA? Oh, that's surprising. But that would even be better. Even if it's going to stay at Empower, that would be better to have it in the IRA, because for whatever reason, I don't, don't ask me why, the workings of the world. There's all these protections, or federally especially, is a lot of this comes from. We want to protect the worker, the investor, and all these things. And there's this thing that hasn't gotten fixed in Washington. If you have a 401k, 403b in that, and if you just quit working there, nobody comes looking for you. And I know there's been some rumblings that they might fix it in another bill or in the next, the next session and this and that, but I just haven't seen it fixed. And whereas if you have an IRA, man, they're on you.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, Max, remember you have an IRA here. It's a totally different experience.
I've never given it much thought, but you're completely right.
Well, I haven't either until like the last couple of weeks. We ran into two different people that didn't know where their money was. Well, the gentleman didn't know where his money was, and then the lady we were talking about, she knows where it is because she left her job more recently. And it's like, but it's just out there.
How are people comfortable with that?
If you're not comfortable with that, go to tuckerretirement.com, get on our phone calendar. We'll spend 15 minutes for free with you in the coming week with one of our financial planners, get your questions answered and your answers questioned. Well, it's, you get busy and you figure, I think what the problem is a number of people, they get in the idea that, well, that 401k provider is looking out for me, so I'm just going to leave it with them for a while. I don't want to rock the boat or bother with it.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a gentleman recently we talked to, about 80 years of age, and he was so proud of his last employer. He was there I can't remember, it was 20 or 30 years. He's like, oh, the great company. And then he says, I can't remember if it was Voya or somebody. He goes, yeah, it's with Voya at the old company, and I've been out of there. I left there. He had retired like 20 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Oh, great company. I was there 30 years. I retired 20 years ago. The 401k's been doing great. So he actually at least is keeping tabs. So at least he knows where the money is. And he said he's told his kids know enough to know what's going on with his money. But he left the job like 20 years ago, and his money's still on like the Voya 401k. And I don't care if it's Voya or somebody else. Voya's fine. But he goes, it's been doing great. And I said, we'll call him Fred. And we're like, Fred, the Voya doesn't make the market go up.
Right.
And you're telling me it's been doing great. Has it always been doing great? Is it always doing great? When people are freaking out and calling us because there's a market correction, was it doing great then?
Right.
There's about 2 market corrections a year lately. So
it's been rough.
I mean, I don't think he's really looking at it, but he's saying how it's doing great.
No, he just sees he has money there still, and he's happy.
Oh, look, I still have money there.
Yep.
And
it's good enough. If it's still there, I'm happy with that.
Well, also too, and this might be actually a good thing in a way. They might just be doing monthly statements. He's the kind of guy that he's actually checking on it. He logs in and looks at it. But I mean, or he made it sound like he logs and looks at it, but actually I bet he might be logging in when they give him, here's your quarterly statement, log in.
Hey, I'm glad he's looking at least.
Well, I'm glad he's looking. I don't want him looking too frequently either, but why he might not notice the volatility, the downs, is if you only look quarterly, you're probably less likely to see those.
That is true.
Those short-term corrections bounce back. There was one a few months ago, and there was one a few months ago before that, and where a number of people noticed because they were like, they saw the news and they went and logged in and they freaked out, and
Oh, I mean, it's funny when those news stories do start happening, they go crazy.
All of a sudden, everybody wants to go to tuckerretirement.com to talk to us.
Yep.
Yeah, our clients don't freak out. We have one or two once in a while because we use a lot of hedging strategies and things. Doesn't mean you don't ever see any kind of correction, but our clients don't tend to freak out very much. But we do get a lot of interest from newer people, like people from the podcast or radio show, or we do workshops here in Chicagoland. And we do get a lot of interest more when things get wobbly. A lot of people are really courageous when they're 30. They're really not courageous about market corrections when they're 60.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
The funny thing is everyone's an expert when the market's going up, but when things are going down,
when the market's going up, I'm a super genius.
Yep.
And and I did this and then I did that. And I saw, there was a thing about AI, I don't know, was it a year or two ago? Maybe it's 2 years ago now. It was on 60 Minutes about AI can do this and AI can do that. And then they also cautioned, well, wait a minute, AI also hallucinates and does this and that. And I'm like, hallucinates? Max, would you get on an airplane with a pilot that hallucinates?
No, probably not. Not if I want to live.
So a lot of folks dumped money in NVIDIA because they heard like, oh, they make the AI chips. Maybe they get that from Jim Cramer or whatever. But then the problem with something like that is once everybody's doing it, it's like, do you want to stay too late at the party?
And you're also on a roller coaster too.
Yeah.
So if you can't stomach swings of 20% up and downs.
Well, when everybody first finds out about it, and that's the thing too about news and trying to beat Wall Street, and you think I just saw it on 60 Minutes.
Yep.
You think you're way ahead of everybody. You're way behind everybody.
Yeah.
60 Minutes got tipped off on that story like 2 months ago, which means all of Wall Street found out about it 6 months ago.
Way before that.
Yeah, I mean, at least. And then there's the speculation, and maybe NVIDIA wasn't, just as an example, not specific advice to buy or sell any security or anything like that, but maybe NVIDIA was undervalued for their new opportunity, and so maybe now they're correctly valued, or maybe they're valued double what they're worth.
Yep.
And we'll find out. And the way you find that out is hey, Max, you ever heard that phrase, the ish hits the fan?
I use that phrase all the time.
Yeah, so you might think everything's roses, and then it might not be.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, we've been through bubbles before. People remember *01, so just be cautious.
It gets fuzzy though.
Yeah.
People still are. People are pretty forgetful. Do you remember during COVID there was a time during COVID we were monitoring things, pretty fervently, and in the you remember the oil futures, they like inverted.
Yeah, they went negative.
They go like, "Hey Max, we'll pay you to take these barrels of oil."
It was about his zero, and people were like, "Well, let's just go to zero." No, it starts going negative.
It was like, wasn't it like we'll pay you $10 a barrel or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
But so we had a client call us, and he goes, "Scott, are you watching this?" And we did have we have a couple of monitors things going on, and I go, "Yeah, the oil futures are inverted." He goes, "Is this something we should get in on?" I go, "Well, here's the deal. We'll call him Tom." And I said, "Well, here's the deal, Tom. You have to take delivery." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, can you get your pickup to Houston?" What do you mean? Well, you got to take delivery, and they'll get. I think it was like $10 a barrel or something. They would pay you to take it.
Yep.
Because they didn't know what to do with it. Then
storage is the big cost with that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm like, if you can get your pickup to Houston, they can roll maybe 3 barrels in the back of your truck and pay you $30 to take it. What do I do with it? Well, there's the problem, Tom.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand futures and what those are.
Well, there's a thing, the Russia-Ukrainian war. There's a problem the Russians have is if you stop pumping, if those pump jacks stop moving, you stop pumping the oil.
Yep.
If you shut down a well, you may never be able to turn it back on again, or you may have to re-drill the whole well and all this kind of thing. So they were like, "Oh boy, we're in trouble." So they go, "We got to figure out how to keep pumping, even if it's at a lesser rate, and that means we got to keep putting it through the pipelines, and we got to get tankers." And then there's a whole thing that they couldn't buy insurance for their tankers, and then tankers wouldn't service them.
Yep.
So then they started that shadow fleet of tankers. And like uninsured shadow fleet, all this stuff. And then they're having to do at-sea transfers to other tankers, all this stuff. But they had the international community, I think, agreed. I think at the time oil was like $70 a barrel. And the international community told the Russians, I think through the UN or something like that, can't remember now, You can sell it for $60 a barrel, but you got to sell it like below market prices. And we're only doing this so you don't shut off the tap, because if they shut down all those wells and they have to reopen they have to redrill them or reopen them, it'll take forever. And then that's still an issue of consternation, right? Because like the North Koreans, the Chinese, and the Iranians, well, not the Iranians, the Indians, yes. The North Koreans, the Chinese, and the Indians will buy the oil, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's why tariffs and government sanctions like that don't work. They thought they're going to hurt the Russians by implementing that. And, if you looked up the Russian ruble compared it to the U.S. dollar, you would actually notice that ruble's been performing much, much better before the Ukraine invasion even started. And that's because exactly what you said. India, China, they're buying all this energy from Russia for pennies on the dollar. And since they're getting it for so cheap, they're giving a lot of money to Russia. So,
yep, and the Indians are getting really cheap energy. So are the Chinese. We'll see though. Everything's changing. Well, you've been listening to Scott and Max here on the podcast. And once you get on our phone calendar at retirementdecoded.com, that's the wrong website, Max.
We got a lot of websites.
Go to tuckerretirement.com. At tuckerretirement.com, you can see our phone calendar. That's what it is, Max.
There we go.
Go to tuckerretirement.com, get on our phone calendar, and we will spend 15 minutes for free with you over the telephone in the coming week. Well, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. We'll see you on the next podcast.
Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. has a strategic partnership with tax professionals and attorneys who can provide tax and or legal advice. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. A Roth conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The views and opinions herein are those of Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AEWM and Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this podcast shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc.